Previously on Echoes. Tikoku is done for. Half its members are dead, the rest have defected. Only the warlord and Kushina remain, the former plotting for a final battle that will shake the heavens, the latter on the path to conquest. Kazama Arashi, having bested Kagaya, must now deal with the fallen self-proclaimed goddess, and rescue Izanami from Kushina's clutches. Naruto's group must deal with the devious maid Terumi, and Chibaku's team rebuild and prepare. The end is night. Main cast. Heroes. Kazama Original Anti-Hero Naruto Menma Tikoku Renegade Naruto Female. Naruto Kitsune Monk were Fox Naruto Chibaku Puppeteer. Naruto Sasuke Uchiha Femme. Haku Yugito ni Izanami Femme. Tobi Dark Wolf Samurai. Naruto Karasu Uchiha. Naruto Atlas Normal Naruto Tobi Good Obito Spiral Good Zetsu. Villains. Tikoku Interworld Akatsuki Obito Uchiha Tikoku Obito The Warlord Villainous Naruto Uzumaki Kabuto Kushina Uzumaki Maid Terumi. Chapter 57. The Red Whirlpool. The wasteland had turned green. Where ashes once stained the earth, trees and flowers began to grow, in all the colors of a rainbow. The devastated Hokage monument had become a snow-capped peak, a shining jewel. A lake was formed out of nowhere, its water pure and pristine. Animals, from deer to birds, materialized out of thin air. Houses of stone and wood grew from the ground, as if they were alive. The fake celestial sphere disintegrated, revealing a shining, clear blue sky, sunlight bathing the land below. Kazama observed the landscape transform before his eyes with a mix of awe and envy. Kagaya's abilities had tremendous potential for good, while his own, unfortunately, leaned toward the destructive. This makes me wonder what could have been accomplished had ninjutsu remained ninshu, the Amekage thought. Holy shit, he heard Menma curse next to him. This is beautiful, Sakura commented, her hands on her mouth. Amazing. Kazama raised his eyes toward the source of the land's rebirth, a white princess floating in the sky. Like a maestro, Kagaya waved her arms, the wind blowing at her command. She turned on herself gracefully, landing right in front of her former foe with divine grace. She waited without moving for a few seconds, and Kazama found himself unsure how to react. During my era, she spoke, sounding vaguely irritated, it was customary for a man to offer his arm when a princess wished to visit her garden. Ah, all right. Kazama clumsily offered his arm, Kagaya folding her hands around it. Sorry for my poor manners. I'm closer to a warlord than a prince, honestly. She didn't reply, her face a mask of absolute composure. Instead, she focused on Menma and Sakura. I have brought back life to my nursery, she said, I give you and your kin permission to settle there and rebuild your village. Then she added, almost as an afterthought. You are dismissed. Menma and Sakura exchanged a glance, and then looked at Kazama. Go, Kazama reassured them, I can handle it on my own. They nodded, Shun shining away without a word. Kagaya made a face, seemingly annoyed that they abode by his authority instead of her own. Have people stopped learning manners? She asked, walking with Kazama among a field of flowers. You will have to forgive us, he replied, princes and princesses are nearly gone today. In this era, fighters and killers rule. That might explain why one such as you arose, she said, managing to mix both respect and disdain in a single tone, why did you spare me? I told you, I thought you might deserve a second chance. He waved his free hand at the land around them. Looks like I was right. That cannot possibly be all. You must have wanted something from me. My hand in marriage. Power. No, Kazama replied, there's no strings attached. I simply felt merciful. I would not have returned it, she admitted bluntly, her gaze glancing at the sun high above them. For the first time since the infinite Izanagi, the true sun shone brightly. I feel as if I have woken up from a long nightmare. My mind is unclouded now. What will you do next? Rebuild, Kagaya replied, now that my children have died, it appears I am the last of the Otsutsuki. I intend to rebuild my clan. She looked at him straight in the eyes. I wondered if you would assist me in this task. I would more than happy to help, he said with a smile. I understand the loneliness that comes with being alone. I am happy to hear this, she declared, her facial expression remaining stern. I am certain we will found a dynasty that will put the very heavens to shame. Kazama suddenly stopped walking, much to her annoyance. Wait, he paused, the innuendo hitting him like a wall of bricks. You mean, rebuild your clan in that way? Who else than you would be worthy of such a duty? She responded, as if it was obvious. That's embarrassing. I am flattered, but I must refuse. Her eyes narrowed dangerously. Why so? She sounded more insulted than confused, her ego wounded. I already have someone. Kazama smiled awkwardly. We aren't married, but, yeah, she is the only one I'm after. Truly. She frowned. There is another like you. Not like me, he said, wondering how to put it. She's a powerful warrior and my closest confidant. I would trust her with my life. She must be a well-bred noble lady to have claimed your heart. She nodded to herself, a most lovely princess. You can say that. Technically. I apologizes on behalf of your fiancé for my forwardness, she said, sounding genuine. I cannot wait to meet her in person. Kazama somehow sensed such a meeting wouldn't end well, at all. She is currently imprisoned, he explained. I intend to rescue her, by force most likely. She nodded again. Kazama guessed she wasn't one used to facial expressions. So I was right, she said, you want something from me. No, he said, if you don't want to go, you can stay here. As long as you don't run around enslaving or killing people, I will let you be. It would not be right not to return the kindness you showed me, she said. The peasants that abducted your fiancé will be taught a sharp lesson. The princess briefly paused. Your chakra, I could not absorb it, because it pulled mine back. I, kinda robbed Mikabashi of a little of his power. She glanced at him for what felt like minutes. I have seen matured fruits of the world trees, she said, even the most bountiful of them cannot grant such power. No, I literally took it from it directly, by force. Her face remained somewhat calm, but her eyes creased, as the truth of his words hit her. Wait, matured trees. This is what my clan did, she explained, somewhat regretfully. We look for planets that Mikabashi seeds with his doom, worlds at war whose soil is fed with blood. When the tree blooms, once a planet is left dry of its power, we harvested it for power and longevity. We fought endless wars over them. But you didn't wish to go along. She observed the skies, as if looking for someone out there, watching back. I was sent to protect the tree of this world until it could mature, she said, but I had grown tired of our pointless conflicts, and I considered my options. I did my duty for a time, rewrote the memories of men so they would forget that I was an outsider. I formed a relationship with a local lord, the father of my children. But when the wars of humans spilled into the land, I could take it no longer. I realized my power alone would not be enough, and my judgment faltered. You ate the fruit, he guessed. You fell into Mikabashi's trap. I had a duty, she said, her voice faltering. I had a duty toward this puny, lost species. I still have it. Kazama squinted at the statement. You have seen the power I had. I thought I could create a paradise, and build an army to protect it. But you forgot your original goals, Kazama guessed. You pondered destroying the tree, but you pushed it in the back of your head. You said you could always do it later, once the rest of your clan was pushed away. But you never did it. You let Mikabashi's whispers poison your mind. Her eyes hardened, in a mix of shame and regret. I never knew what true power was. Power, Kazama mediated on the word. I was born with a large amount of it, and I earned enough to become a myth. I too abused my might. When you have no one to stop and check you, it is inevitable. Power is intoxicating. It's an ever greater rush. But my loved ones pulled me out of the darkness before I could sink too deeply into it. He looked at Kagaya dead in the eyes. People like us have a duty to those who cannot help themselves. Kagaya, said the former ruler of AIM, we must use our might to protect and guide them. This is true, but we shouldn't rule over them. We shouldn't forget we are protectors, where we come from. While I might have divine power, I remain a human. Power doesn't make us inherently better. I will not forget this again. And neither should you. She didn't say a word, looking at him dead in the eyes. Then show me, she said, show me your way. You want to become my pupil. She put her free hand on his left cheek. Kazama wondered if she even comprehended the implications of the gesture. In all likelihood, she seemed completely blind to human emotions. We can teach each other. You can teach me to protect, and I can teach you to create. Kazama took her hand, and gently removed it. All right, he said. A partnership then. Chibaku. He found Karasu atop a building, dangerously near the edge. Was he considering jumping? Chibaku approached as loudly as he could, trying to catch the Uchiha's attention before he did something stupid. Hey, Wheelie, he said, how are you rolling today? Karasu tilted his head toward him, his empty eye sockets covered by a bandage. Strapped into his wheelchair, his back damaged beyond even Tsunade's capabilities, he looked miserable. You are a fucking asshole, and your jokes are worse than you are. That's good, the puppeteer replied, you being angry means less time wallowing in self-pity. I'm not, Karasu sighed. Look, I've just lost my sight, and I've came the closest to death since the sound nin caught me. Whatever poison Orochimaru put on his sword destroyed my nerves, and I might never walk again. Sorry if I'm not as cheerful as usual. Hey, looker, listen to me, Chibaku said, his counterpart's expression worsening. I'm more metal than flesh, and I'm one of the merriest boy you'll ever meet. You should consider becoming a human puppet, really. I'm not that desperate. Ah, come on, Chibaku grumbled, no one ever respects puppets. Bah, with a multiverse as vast as ours, and so many geniuses we can contact, it's only a matter of time before we find someone good enough to fix you. It's not that, the teen replied, folding his hands, I can't help for the battles coming up in our near future. This is the worst war in our entire history, with thousands, millions of lives on the line, and I can't help. It's killing me more than Orochimaru ever did. Chibaku glanced at the city. A good third of the buildings were charred, damaged, or toppled, but that meant most of them still stood. The invasion had been repelled before it could take too many victims. You already helped, he reassured him, how many lives did you save fighting Orochimaru? Not enough, Karasu grumbled, never enough. He let out a long sigh. But, I guess I'm still there. That's gotta count for something. He sighed. How are the others doing? Yugito and Haku are dealing with Tamari, the puppeteer replied, she says she was forced by the warlord to work with him. That her world is drowning in sand, a shinobi war having depleted its resources, and that she had no choice but raid for her people to live. She sounds convincing, but we can't trust her just yet. Orochimaru offered her to relocate her world's population to his own, since it is already depopulated, in exchange for her military assistance. Inari, Kitsune, helping with the relief effort. Oro buried a lot of people beneath the debris. I think Inari is pretty happy to stretch his legs, now that our Orochimaru removed his seal. The puppeteer crossed his arms. Inari worries a lot about you. He was pretty pissed when you got put down. I'll make sure to say thanks next time he comes over. So long as he doesn't say something stupid first at least. He let out a long sigh. You know, I'm starting to get confused, between their Orochimaru and ours, Karasu added, a faint smirk on his face. He should have his image copyrighted, Chibaku mused. I should too. Sorry, but even as a robot my face is prettier than yours. The Uchiha shrugged, before raising his head. A booming noise resonated across the rooftop, space twisting, and a portal opened. A hooded Kabuto stepped through, carrying a sealed coffin. Hi, he said, dropping his package on the ground, as the dimensional gateway closed behind him. You, Karasu hissed, while Chibaku adopted a fighting stance. What do you want? Not to fight, he replied, I apologize for the sneaky entrance. I have grown so used to lurking in dark corners. His tone sounded sorry, but Chibaku didn't believe him. The puppeteer suspected the Tikoku member actually enjoyed making people feel uneasy. Your Madara almost killed Yugito's entire team, Chibaku pointed out, you could have avoided this entire mess. I could have, Kabuto replied, but I had to at least pretend to be on the warlord's side. Playing for the other guys openly will get you killed far faster than you'd think, as I told Tamari. I wasn't sure you could defeat the warlord, and not to hurt your feelings, I still am not sure you can. But you still get killed in the end, Karasu said. Whether you fight for or against the warlord, the issue remains the same. He simply shrugged. All this conflict means little to me, the scientist replied, my own survival, and that of my lab world, is all that matters. I was content to stay in the shadows, as far away from the light as I could, until the dust settled. Then why are you showing up now? Chibaku asked. I have finished piecing it together, Kabuto replied grimly, what the warlord wants. Let's just say we may have a problem on our collective hands. An apocalyptic problem. Karasu frowned. How apocalyptic are we talking about? We've faced so many of those scenarios, we really should make a scale, Chibaku mused bitterly. All different levels of fucked. This one will be beyond catastrophic, if the warlord is allowed to carry it out, the necromancer replied tersely, you need to gather everyone. This concerns us all. And that coffin over here? Chibaku asked. This might be the key to our victory. The one person the warlord could never kill. Kabuto removed the top. Come and see. The puppeteer approached and looked inside. An adult beauty, with white skin and long black hair, lying in a bed of roses. I can barely sense anything, Karasu murmured, she's barely alive. I present you Hinata Hyuga, Kabuto said, she is quite the sleeping beauty, don't you think? Kushina. Conquering worlds was a bore. It had been exciting at first. After Hamura Senpai had taught her his secrets and the truths about ninjutsu, she had waged war on the world that had tormented her since she had been born. She had crushed all the shinobi, freed the Biju, raised petty cities and enslaved the survivors to rebuild her destroyed childhood home, the only place where she had ever been happy. Kushina had fought the world, and the world had lost. Her rule had remained unopposed, and she probably would still be resting lazily on her throne without Tikoku. Mifune had tried to keep her pleased. He always was, giving her archery lessons, taking her to places where he had traveled, playing shogi with her. He was adorable this way, even his hobbies were old-fashioned. He was her most precious person in the multiverse, the one human who had never betrayed her, and she was thankful enough for it not to voice her complaints and sadden him. But truly, she had welcomed the warlord's interruption. It had been strange, seeing an adult version of the son she never had, a feral monster wearing a civilized mask. Even stranger had been his words, the revelation of countless worlds, each different than the last. Kushina had relished the idea of seeing new places and jumped at the opportunity. In a way, she had most sincerely hoped to see a world where everything was perfect. Where humans weren't disgustingly selfish, a world without Jinchuriki. A world where she would have been wrong to do what she did. She had never found it. Whenever she went, she always saw the same disgusting wars, Jinchuriki put in bondage, ninjas abusing their power. After the seventh world, she had given up, and continued her revenge with renewed zeal. Even when her other, lesser selves refused to see the truth. Why her counterparts had almost always ended with Minato Namikaze completely went over Kushina's head. His face looked like a girl's. Her taste went for pretty, slim boys, but she had mistaken Minato for a woman the first time she had seen him in Konoha. Now, she had conquered dozens of worlds, refined it into an art. But she was too strong, her army too organized. Enemies folded before her instead of giving a challenge. She wondered if this was what the warlord felt. Crushing boredom. But, as Kushina looked on the beaten-up visage of Makoto Uchiha, she realized one thing never lost its appeal. Destroying that woman was never going to get old. Ever. It's too bad we had to seal your eyes, Kushina said coldly, you could have seen your son die. You will just have to settle on listening to his death throes. The woman gurgled, bound and gagged. She was tied to logs like the rest of her family, the entire Uchiha clan lined up for death. Their eyes were kept closed by seals, their chakra suppressed. They had gathered them at Konoha's stadium, with the defeated citizens forced to attend the execution. Watching their leader die like a powerless dog would break their spirit. Kushina believed in utilizing just the right style of death not to turn people into martyrs. Now, with her fan in her left hand and her sword in the right, Kushina prepared to execute the Godime Hokage, Itachi Uchiha. We should allow him some last words, Mifune protested, keeping his arms crossed in disapproval, he was a fine warrior. He deserves better. Hamura, as usual, made no comment, simply keeping Kushina in sight like a hawk. He will have to settle on a quick death, replied the princess of Uzu, infinitely better than what will happen to his mother. She could sense Kurama relish in Itachi's pain as he heard those words. Then again, the Biju was never picky. In the early years, Kurama had talked to her, like a voice in the back of her mind, until her thoughts and its voice became one. Jinchuriki and Biju had been linked for so long, they were no longer two independent personalities. Their chakra, their very mind had pooled together into a single whole. Kurama was now a presence within her every second of her life. The princess raised her sword, and struck. The sword cut through air. Kushina froze, her two bodyguards leaping in front of her. The Uchiha were gone, vanished. Where Makoto Uchiha had been bound, a man stood. She recognized him, from a photo the warlord had shared with all of Tikoku's members. Kazama Arashi. And he had brought company. Kushina paused a moment upon recognizing Menma, then glanced over the pink-haired girl shielding him like he was her own cub. The last member of the group, a tall, white-haired woman, exchanged a surprised glance with Hamura-sensei. She quickly recognized the mystery woman, based on her teacher's stories. So that is the famous Princess Kagaya. She looked dimmer than expected. Mother. Hamura. Did the temperature just drop 10 degrees? Kushina wondered, as the murderous tension between the two became palpable. Bah, sensei will waste this hag in no time. Murmurs resonated across the stadium, then turned into screams as tremors shook it. Explosions caused noise around the village, Kushina sensing dozens, hundreds of chakra signatures rampaging around her new fief. Shadow clones, she thought. How unimaginative. I know these words are probably wasted on you, Kazama Arashi declared, but this does not have to end in violence. Trust me on this, Queen Bee, Menma said, his hands in his pockets. If you take another step, you're gonna have a bad time. You have guts, traitor, Kushina replied, unimpressed. You know what the warlord will do to you when he hears about it. His eyes faltered with a little fear, but he let out a shrug. I know what he's going to do when he hears we wasted you, laugh his ass off. Kushina didn't dignify this sentence with an answer, her eyes settling on Kazama. She subtly sent a chakra pulse through her ring, which distributed it to the others. Kazama Arashi alive, Menma traitor, need reinforcements. Hamura, Mifune, I will deal with the leader myself, Kushina declared, you get rid of the others. When I return, I want this city pacified and those people's heads on spikes. As you will, Haim-sama, Mifune said, while her teacher merrily nodded. Kushina nodded, and the scenery around her and Kazama changed, going through the angles of reality. She was very proud of her pocket dimension. An endless white, still ocean, underneath a gray sky. Completely made of seals, she used it for meditation, or training with Hamura. This is my personal, hidden garden, Kushina said as her feet floated on the water, with a smile, how do you find it? It is well done, he said with the warmth of a cold winter. You know I could leave you there and move back to Konoha anytime. But you won't, because I have what you want, she said, raising her fan, you will fight me on any battlefield I set, because you will fight for her. Until I catch you. Then you will die. You aren't fast enough, she replied, golden chakra mode. A golden halo surrounded her, as Kurama's power bathed her in its light. You want the bitch, she declared, come and get her. Naruto. The throne room of Kurigakure was a highly impressive sight to look at. Larger than all of Fugaku's already impressive house, the hall was spherical, with the white throne of Kiri standing at the center, above a floor of marble. Ice mirrors covered the walls and the ceiling, so nothing could hide from the Mizukage herself. Yet, the place didn't feel cold at all. All in all, the throne room looked like the palace of winter itself. Naruto might have appreciated the place, if the 7 swordsmen of the mist weren't glaring at her, and if she could still feel her legs. I find the sounds your intestines make most fascinating, Spiral said, vowels moving like instruments. The creature had wrapped itself around her skin, leaving only her head exposed. It helped with pumping chakra into her body, accelerating her recovery, and moving her legs for her. They're just vowels, she said, don't you have them? Of course I don't have them, silly. I'm a plant. She couldn't help but shiver, as she sensed it brush against the skin of her neck. It was nothing against Spiral itself, Naruto knew without it, she would have died. But being so close to Spiral after Red Zetsu had pulled the same thing on her, and had caused Kurama's death. She couldn't help but feel more than a little uncomfortable. Yet, being in Spiral's care didn't disturb her half as much as the 7 swordsmen surrounding Mei, guarding her. She had recognized 2 of them as Haku and Zabuza, in spite of their disguise, the former wielding a needle-like weapon. Yet, those who had been dear friends were now glaring at her like she was a threat, radiating killing intent. Sasuke and the Dark Wolf surrounded her, personally, ready to shield her if it came to be. More confident, Tobi stood before the group, as their representative. Why did you bring us here? I have received a distress call from a fellow member of Tikoku, Mei explained. It appears Kazama engaged her in battle. This might be your chance to turn the tide. Naruto raised her head. Sensei is alive. Not that she had ever doubted it, but it appears Menma turned his coat, and his report was falsified, Mei said. I am willing to open a portal, so the 3 of you can go assist him. 3. Tobi frowned. Naruto will stay with me, Mei informed, as a guest. A hostage, Toby accused. A guest, Mei insisted, she hasn't properly recovered. I have recovered enough, Naruto protested. I could cut through all 7 of your bodyguards with one hand, and the other around your throat, the dark wolf stated plainly. You will not have her. Mei's face remained a picture of calmness, but there was a striking coldness to it. She stays until you return, she said with a queenly tone. Unless you find a way to make Zetsu's ring work in the following hour, I would suggest you accept my offer, if you wish to make a difference. How can we even be sure this is not a trap? Sasuke asked sharply. If I had wanted you dead, I would have left you to die along with Zetsu's world, Mei replied with a soothing tone. As I told you before, we are on the same side. Then let all of us go, Sasuke insisted. You do not trust me, and I do not trust you either, Mei said. I need to make sure you will come back without an army. Your people are already in my care, Obito Uchiha, but the others remain too unpredictable. I assure you this will only be temporary. It's okay, Naruto said. I will stay. Naruto, we can't leave you alone, Toby said, especially not with her. I am supposed to look out for you when Kazama isn't around, Sasuke added. I failed to do so with Zetsu, I will not do it again. I would have come, she said. I really would have liked to go. But, if Sensei is in danger, someone needs to go. The trio exchanged glances. You're really sure about this? Sasuke asked pointedly. Yes, Naruto said. She didn't like it, but the alternative was worse. Mei waved her hand, a portal opening before the group, showing a Konoha covered in smoke. We will come back, Toby swore, moving in first. Naruto, Sasuke didn't finish his sentence. Everything will be alright, Naruto lied, a fake grin on her face. Be strong, the dark wolf said grimly, putting a hand on Sasuke's shoulder. She made her choice. The two exchanged a long glance, then moving in. The portal closed immediately afterward, before Naruto could even make a move to stride through. I apologize, Mei said, sounding honest. I take no pleasure in this, but the safety of my world is paramount. I need leverage. Don't make excuses, Naruto replied. I'm tired of people making excuses. She had already made enough of them for a lifetime. Mei didn't answer, and instead raised her head, frowning. What is? The ground shook. The mirror walls of the throne room began to vibrate a little. The very air became heavy and oppressive. The 7 swordsmen instantly formed a defensive perimeter around Mei, shielding her. The doors of the throne room, large and white, slowly opened, revealing a man with hands soaked in blood. Gee, look at the time, the newcomer said with a vicious smirk. It's doomsday o'clock. Tikoku's leader. The warlord. Naruto almost hadn't believed Sasuke-san, when he had told her Tikoku's leader was another alternate counterpart of her. The warlord was the oldest Naruto she had seen, and estimated him to be in his mid-20s. He walked shirtless and barefoot, wearing only red pants with a golden dragon motif woven on it. His eyes were icy and cruel, and his smile wasn't a smile. His eyes set on her, specifically. He looked so much like Sensei, yet so far away, it disturbed her greatly. He smiled, closed the gap between them faster than Naruto could follow, and then petted her hair with his right hand. What a nice face you have, he said, with a paternal tone. Can't wait to skin it off. Naruto instantly backed away, leaping next to the throne. The swordsmen led her inside their perimeter, their former enmity forgotten in the face of an overwhelming opponent. Hey, little girl, don't be shy. After I've murdered those clowns, we can go to watch a Princess Gale movie or something. He snickered. Looks like the others already left the ship before I could board it. Quite sad. I looked forward to finishing off the Uchiha. What are you doing here, warlord? Mei asked icily. Cutting off loose ends, he replied. Oh, and I'm gonna grab that girl, if you don't mind. Fuck you, Naruto replied with a snarl. Adults are talking, sweetie, he said. Don't try to act like a grown-up, or I might play Tooth Fairy and rip out your jawbone. Why? Mei asked, while Naruto's jaw clenched. Why do you want her? Because I know he's going to get all worked up over it, he gloated. I think I'll stuff her head into a fridge for a week before sending it to him wrapped in a silk ribbon. Like a birthday present. I will not let you take her. Oh, so now you want to play the hero. How noble. The tremors increased in potency. I would worry more about your country if I were you. My summons are eating, like, 10 of your citizens a second. Mei's face twisted into a frown. Swordsman, she declared, leave at once. Use our relay to evacuate as many as people as you can to the fallback world. The swordsmen exchanged glances. Mizuguchi-sama, I will follow soon. This is an order. Now go. Even Naruto didn't believe her, and Mei didn't look like she believed it either. The swordsman nodded, albeit reluctantly, and vanished. The warlord stood there, the doors of the throne room closing behind him. Facing me alone, he mocked. Feeling suicidal. We know they would barely slow you down, she replied, and that this battle is meaningless. You aren't even really here. Maybe, maybe not. I've got so many of me around, sometimes it's hard to remember if I am me. Every time I die, I wonder if this is the last one. It's quite the thrill. You might get your wish. I will not go without a fight. Good, maybe I'll get a good workup out of it. Nothing like breaking the backs of traitors on my knees. Mei's eyes hardened. Since when did you know? What? The warlord asked with mock surprise. Oh my gosh. Kabuto, a double agent. Temari, despising me after I bullied her world into joining in. How can it be? How did I not see it coming? The Mizuguchi observed the scene silently, her gaze one of iron. Mei, I knew what you were planning before you even thought about it, the warlord kept laughing, I can sense negative emotions. You were screaming rebellion the moment I set up my terms. Then why did you let us work behind your back? Isn't it obvious enough already? You were never a threat. He grinned. Besides, I found your doomed efforts quite hilarious. The first domino is about to fall, and there's nothing you can do about it. Unfortunately, you won't be around long enough to see the fireworks. Before this ends, Mei declared, I want you to do me a favor. Oh, the warlord hummed. If you ask for mercy, I will have to politely refuse. That would mean indulging you, and you have been a naughty girl. But please, do entertain me. I think I have figured out what you want to do, the Mizuguchi said grimly, why you do it is what I do not understand. What can you possibly hope to gain from this? The smile slipped. I do it because I hate you. His killing intent overwhelmed the room like a flood, Naruto freezing in place. Never in her entire life had she experienced something like this, such a primal, raw desire to destroy. The sheer pressure in the air was phenomenal. Even Susanoo's presence was never this overwhelming. Your existence disgusts me, the warlord said venomously, your life demeans me. Every breath of you worthless maggots lessen my value as an individual. He glared at Naruto, specifically, and in those cold dead eyes, the young kunoichi saw flashes of horrors, murders, and tortures. A whirlwind of pain and destruction. I wanted to be like you once, he said, his voice low and deep, I wanted to be a hero. To form those connections, to feel that I deserve the praise and respect of those lesser creatures. I wanted them to validate my existence, to prove my life had a reason, and a sense of worth. But it never came. I remained the demon they wanted to see in me. Then, I understood I was wrong. Those things called bonds, I never needed them. Sasuke, strangled to death while his wife screamed. It was then, that I understood how to become strong. That true strength came from solitude. That I did not need anyone to exist. His eyes flared with a red light. Kakashi, buried beneath tons of rock. Sakura, enslaved, forced through innumerable humiliations, and then killed in the same exact way her husband had been. Neji Hyuga, his eyes ripped and left to bleed to death. Rock Lee, his skull crushed underfoot like dog shit. Kiba, giving up after seeing his dog killed right in front of him. Kurama, sucked of its chakra while begging for its life. The horrific images continued to flash in Naruto's head, a carnival of nightmares and humiliations. A demon that cares only about himself. That is what Gaara said. He was a kindred spirit, in a way. Almost a shame Akatsuki got to him before I did. But even he was imperfect, shackled by this perverted feeling specks like you call maternal love. In the end, he couldn't become a true demon. He couldn't care only about himself. Girl, stop looking at his eyes. Spiral shouted. This is a genjutsu. To preserve my existence, I reduced my world to ashes, the warlord continued, his words drilling into Naruto's mind, so I could bask in the feeling of needing no one. Only one person I did not destroy, and kept as a monument to my rebirth. I had become something more than a man. The horrific barrage of visions ended, Naruto falling to her knees instantly, shivering. Only I have the right to exist. Because only I deserve to. I am the only thing that has any value in the cosmos. I am an existence that transcends all. His face morphed into anger. But then, why are you here? Why do you breathe, insulting me with every movement of your lungs? The raw madness in his eyes, in his voice, shook Naruto to the core. The mask had slipped entirely, revealing the monster behind it. Your very life reduces my value, the warlord declared, because I am not unique. Neither the first, nor the last. Because there is a me out there that chose to remain weak. My supreme act of will, the greatest choice I ever made, had been invalidated. His eyes flared red. I will destroy all of you, he laughed maniacally. I will become the only Naruto Uzumaki. I will become the last man standing, as reality is devastated and redrawn in my image. Madara Uchiha and Hashirama were called gods, yet both died. Gods are just powerful beings. I will become something more. I will reshape the very multiverse. I will become a force as pervasive as gravity. Everything will revolve around me. My will alone will dictate possibility. I will be the universe, the cornerstone of creation. The killing intent died off, the warlord grinned mischievously. As it should be, he added, his words now calm and soothing. The feverish madness still lurked at the edge of his eyes. Naruto panted heavily, trying to get her mind back in order. Mei had paled, but regained her composed faster. You are insane, the Mizukage accused, rising from her throne. I knew, but I never understood just how far into madness you had fallen. Good, I think you're finally starting to see the real me. The warlord crossed his arms. I don't expect a lesser mind to comprehend what I have become. He focused back on Naruto. And you little girl. Nothing to add. As a copy, I guess you can begin to grasp what I mean. Those disgusting, perverted feelings. Compassion, love, has anyone ever returned them? Has Konoha ever liked you? Naruto glared at that soulless monster with all her heart. My friends did, she said, don't try to lecture me. You are just a demented megalomaniac. Naruto-san, Mei began, walking next to the younger Kunoichi. At my signal, I will open a portal and you will go through it. I will try to hold him. No, she said, I'm not running away. This is not Red Zetsu. Mei brushed her off. I have to protect this city, but nothing forces you to stay. If you do, you will die. I am not running away, Naruto insisted. Someone has to stand up to him. You. The warlord replied mockingly, you're a useless load. Trying so hard to prove you're worth something, yet always falling. Always the one remaining. She felt something brush her brain, rip info from it. Shit, Spiral said, he's reading our chakra. Gaara is gone, he continued, you lost her friendship. You let her be happy, even if it hurt you. You saw Kakashi die, and so many followed. You saw your idol, the person that gave you a purpose in your pointless existence, go mad. You failed him, and guess what? He's never coming back. Neither is Kurama. She died for you. Sacrificed her existence to preserve your miserable, worthless little life. If she had survived while you had died, this whole mess could have been avoided, don't you think? She could have fought me off better than you. But you're a failure, always have been, always will be. You know I am right, deep down. Because I felt the same once. Because I'm the future awaiting you, at the end of the tunnel. His smile widened. You don't deserve to live, you worthless piece of shit. What have you done? Who have you saved? Nothing came out of your actions. Someone else always took the heat, a loved one always died. Nothing you ever do matter. Not because it's fate. Not because of some fluke. Because of you. Because you lived instead of others who deserved it more than you. Naruto inhaled sharply. Are you done? This seemed to surprise him a little. There is nothing you told me I haven't told myself already, Naruto replied. I have failed every single person who believed in me. People who deserved to live more than I did died for me. If I could take Kurama's place, or Kakashi-san's, I would, in a heartbeat. Her hands shook. But I am here. I can't disregard their sacrifice, no matter how I want to. This is why, I will fight you. Even if it's useless. He asked with heavy sarcasm, how courageous. I won't lay down on the ground and throw a tantrum, no matter how hopeless it seems, she said. I guess this is why I didn't end up like you. His grin faded. 1 second later, the room exploded into a firestorm. Kazama. She was fast. Ungodly fast. Minato Namikaze had been incredibly fast, but this woman's speed was beyond ridiculous. Even with using the Makio Jutsu to hop across the battlefield, Kazama could barely dodge her and keep up with her movements. Kazama surrounded himself with a tornado of blue fire, forcing the princess to backflip away from the fire. The former Jinchuriki hoped Menma and Ko could handle the others. Unfortunately, the attack plan had been hacked. He had been in the middle of teaching Kagaya the basics of ninjutsu, when he had peeked at the other worlds with the Satori sight, seen the executions being prepared. He had been forced to improvise, having Menma send shadow clones to attack sites of interest while they took on the leaders of Uzu. Funny, he was using the same tactics he had used to destroy one Konoha, to save another. The irony wasn't lost on him. Kushina made a wide movement with her fan, unleashing a blast of cutting wind at him. Fire release. Uchiha battle encampment. Kazama shouted, summoning a cubic barrier of fire around him, the flames feeding on the air currents. Kushina made another dancing motion with her fan, this time turning the water beneath his feet into a whirlpool, extinguishing the flames into steam. Kazama teleported right behind her before being caught inside the watery trap. Unfortunately, as he made a move to burn the fan, Kushina rotated with grace, almost faster than his eyes could follow, and attempted to behead him in a sweeping motion. Kazama backed down, only for Kushina to pursue him, trying to nail him without giving him any opportunity for rest. She doesn't use ninjutsu, she bends elements directly through her fan, and uses her sword for close combat. She traded the complexity of ninjutsu for simpler, faster techniques. As Kushina attempted to pierce his heart, Kazama opened a portal in front of it, letting the blade go through, and then closed it when his foe had her hand thoroughly through. Unfortunately, Kushina managed to remove half the blade before Kazama could close it. At least she lost most of her range. Going on the offensive, Kazama summoned his chains and attempted to catch her, only to hear a powerful noise coming from his left. The ninja barely had the time to turn his head in the direction to notice an arrow of light racing straight at him. Jet fire! Kazama shouted, propelling himself out of the arrow's way, which continued its course unimpeded. As he landed on the ground, the ninja glanced at the bowman. A second Kushina stood 1,000 meters away from him, her long red hair unkempt and her eyes shining blue. She wielded a bow of light, apparently made of golden chakra. A decoy, Kazama guessed, as the golden, armed Kushina charged at him again. You're not Kushina, you're... The golden Kushina smirked with a feral, bestial flair to it. The Nine Tails. Kazama quickly understood what had happened. They separated when my vision was briefly blinded by the steam earlier, he thought, avoiding another swing. The cloak is moving on its own, inhabited by the will of the Nine Tails. No wonder it can't do complicated techniques. The original Kushina raised her bow, and fired another arrow. Zazenkai. Kazama snarled. Opening portals one after the other in very quick succession, Kazama caused a powerful resonance to spread across the pocket dimension, the air itself vibrating. The nine-tailed was violently thrown backward, while the arrow detonated before it could reach Kazama, exploding into a sphere of golden chakra. Kazama teleported right in front of the real Kushina, and tried to hammer her with a Rasengan before she could create another arrow. Instead, Kushina's face changed, took on fox-like whiskers. Her eyes became yellow and slit, and her hair grew longer and sharper. She proceeded to dodge the attack, and continued to do so as Kazama began to bombard her with Kaiden techniques, trying to put enough distance to safely launch arrows. Kazama quickly recognized the technique she was using. Fucking Sage Mode. That technique had been an endless source of grief for him. While clearly not as fast as her Biju, she was nonetheless gracefully dodging all of Kazama's fireballs. She's nowhere near as strong as Obito, he thought grimly, but she's 1,000 times more skilled than he ever was. Opening portals to a world made of pure acid, Kazama unleashed gallons of it right above his enemy. A rain of green liquid fell on her. When she realized she wouldn't avoid this one, Kushina let her chakra flare. Shiranui, Kushina whispered to herself, the fire of the beyond. An amazing thing happened. A ghost of black fire materialized from nothingness like an angel with dozens of long, black tentacles, sharpened fangs, and a cruel, sadistic gaze. The ghost put itself in the way of the acid rain, shielding Kushina with its ethereal body. Kazama vaguely recognized the shape. Zetsu. Please, the creature taunted, joining its ghostly hands into a sign, just call me black. Yang release. Moonshards. Shard of light materialized around him, and then threw themselves at Kazama. The ninja opened a tear in space, deflecting the projectiles to another dimension, before realizing this was a distraction, as roots erupted from the water beneath his feet. Backing away, Kazama was taken by surprise by the Kyuubi, swinging its sword from his left. Using the Makio, Kazama teleported 100 meters away, but not before the tip of the sword grazed his waist, drawing blood. Shit, I can't focus on all of them, he thought. I can hold on for now, but I will slip up under the pressure. I got to overwhelm them quickly. Looks like we outnumber you 3-1, Black Zetsu taunted. It would be awfully easier if you just sat down and died begging for mercy like a good human should. 3 losers won't ever make a winner, Kazama replied calmly, building up his chakra for the counterattack. There was a war on the moon, and I won it, the Black Ghost boasted. I sowed dissent among the gods, paved the heavens with blood, and poisoned the mind of a saint. Tell me, little boy, how can you defeat that which only the divine could kill? The same way I always solve my problems, by hitting you really hard, Kazama replied, unimpressed. Storm of swords. Dozens of weapons fell upon the duo, but Black Zetsu called upon its roots once more, forming a shield of plants around its master.